Jersey Girl production.
Okay, Mac T here, and I'm going to be working on the VVT for the Chevy Trailblazer. And we got the parts here. I got the new Variable Valve Timing Solenoid, it's the Delphi, and I also have a cam position sensor. But as they say, you're supposed to change the oil, so we're going to go ahead and change the oil and put a new oil filter on it before we install the VVT and the cam sensor, just so that we're starting out on a level playing field. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And also I want y'all to know today's my t-shirt day, and Disability Service Dogs is of course a very good organization, and I want you all, if you need a disability service dog in the Quad Cities area or anywhere else, they are great trainers of disability assistance dogs, and I know one of them personally, and his name's Jasper, and he helps a very good little girl that have epilepsy, and very valuable for her and a very good companion. So anyway, onward to our repair video, and I'm going to start changing the oil. Okay, we're going to go ahead and drain the oil. Let this drain is first part of the process to actually taking and working on the VVT. You want to start out with good clean oil in the first place.
Whoa, it looks weird.
Of course, this Chevy Trailblazer does take 6 quarts of oil or so, or 7 or something like that, so it will take a bit of oil. It will of course take a little bit to drain. And this oil filter is of course up in the upper recess. You got to remove this panel here and loosen it down in order to gain access to the oil filter. And then we're going to go ahead and start it, cycle it, and then check the oil. And we check the oil. And it looks like we're right almost there. Get a little bit more oil. And pushing down, releasing the tension on the belt to remove the power steering pump. And then we just release the tension back up. And then we just pull the tool off and we just work on it that way. Now, what we're also going to be replacing is this cam sensor right here. We're going to just take that off, and if you look down below down here, there is a right down here there is a bolt. Can't quite see it with my finger, but it is down there, and quite frankly it's really hard to see, but we got this cam position right down here. We're going to go ahead and get this bolt off of here, and then of course this cam position sensor, and then we have to get this VVT removed, which is right here. So in order to do that, we of course have to then take and remove the power steering, and we have to undo a couple bolts, and it looks like I got one bolt that is right here, right down here. My fat fingers are in the way, but you can see it pointing at it right there in the center of the screen. I got to do that one, and I believe there's another one down below that I have to release, I think. But I'm going to try releasing this top one first. You can access it through the holes, if you can see the holes down here, right there to that bolt. So it's a pretty simple thing. So we're going to access it right through that hole to release that, pull the power steering pump to the left, and then hopefully that will give us more room to actually slide this VVT out and replace it. And the nut is right down here that we're going to be removing. Okay, now we go ahead and release this bolt on the power steering pump. Just spin this bolt out. Once you get it out, of course, then you can go remove it. It turned out that it is not a metric size that I was working on, but we're going to go ahead and get this pulled out of here. See if I can't get this out. Of course, working hard at it, but we'll get it. See if this will release this power steering pump once I get this bolt out of here. See if we can't slide this power steering pump a little bit. Apparently there's another bolt that's going to hold it up there, so I'm going to have to work on getting the other one out. Okay, right back here, there's one bolt down right here to the right. There's one at the top, and then there's one at the bottom. Now I'm going to leave the bottom one intact. I loosened it, but I'm going to take and remove this one, and I've already moved this one up here. So that should give me some room. Should give me some room to actually move this power steering pump a bit and actually take and now get enough wiggle room to remove this solenoid. So we're going to take and remove it a little bit more, and that should give me some room to actually do it. By the way, the bolt head is of course a 1/2 inch socket that I'm using on it. So just keep that in mind. You need 1/2 inch, and then I got a small extension on it with a small tiny ratchet to get in there because it's so small. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this the rest of the way, and we're going to see what we can do to actually take and get this thing off of here as far as the power steering pump, so that I can finish removing it and giving myself some space to actually take and get this VVT out of here. Try this lower one down here too, and of course give myself some more room, because it seems the more you take and loosen it up, the more space you're going to have to actually remove it. I don't really want to remove it the whole way, but you still want to have the space in order to actually get at it. So that's primarily what I'm doing right now. Just trying to loosen these things up so I can actually have the room that I need to in order to remove this variable valve timing solenoid. Yeah, but now I got to get this bolt right here off of there. And of course I have to remove these wires off of here. So I got to figure out how these things clip on. Apparently they snap on and snap off somehow. There we go. I should be able to pull that out somehow by pressing it. There we go. And then I got this clip right here that I got to hang on to. So we got this all released. So we'll go ahead and start removing that. Move it. It is a 10 millimeter. So we're going to use our little stubby wrench here to get this thing off of here. And once I get it released, it comes off pretty easy. I go ahead and just spin her off, keeping in mind it is a little bit on the warm side because the engine was running. But we're going to go ahead and release this bolt that holds this VVT in. So once we get that going there a bit, get our finger loosened, and we can get it off of there. Get that bolt released a little. Of course, we got it out, and that's all we got to do there. Then we got to take and loosen this up a little bit. And this thing is on there pretty tight. So give it a little bit of a shake, rattle and roll, and we can't quite get her out. That pump is still in the way, so what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and take this last bolt out. Gordon? Okay, I got this power steering pump. I had to release all 3 bolts in order for it to set back far enough. So basically you got to remove the power steering pump, and then you can pull this VVT out. And if you look at it, you can see these screens. The center screens look like they're clogged up. They do look like they're clogged up in the center, so I'm going to assume being that they're clogged up and they look a little bit indented in there, that this thing is not working. This here, basically, I think this one is no longer functioning. So we're going to go ahead and, if you can follow me, I'm going to put this over on the bench here so we can look at it a little closer. But if you see that screen right there, that screen does not look good. And it does appear that it's the center one. I don't know the pressure of it, but the center one is not in good shape. Actually is, yeah, it is clogged a little bit. So you can actually see that it's got something over top of it, material, garbage. So it's, you know, you might be able to salvage this and clean it and make it work, but, you know, wow, okay, this may be the problem to getting this Trailblazer back to running. So I'm going to pull out the new one, and just so you folks have a comparison, so we can make sure we're all on the same sheet of music here. This, of course, is the new VVT compared to the old one. Pretty much identical. As you can see, this one has the screens on it, and this one, or springs on it, and this one does not have springs. I think that's what they put in there to keep them from getting sucked in. But you can't really see that the solenoid, it's discolored. It might be just from age and oil and buildup, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It just got gunked up. Who knows, you can maybe clean it and reuse it, but I ain't gonna go that route. I'm gonna go ahead and install this new one. So we're gonna get this going in the cam position sensor, and we're gonna see if we can't make this engine run smoother. And we get it slid right into the cylinder here, get it buttoned right back up in there. It fits in, of course it bolts right back into there. And we take this small bolt, we line up the holes. Of course we always start everything with our fingers, right? That way we don't cross thread anything. So get this nut started, get it finger tight, and then we'll go ahead and tighten her back up, and then we'll take and get the power steering pump put back on and get that working. Go ahead and put the wrench on her. We're going to just snug her up. Doesn't have to be real tight, just nice and snug. Then of course we go ahead and we plug this back in to the new solenoid, and then we take the clip, we put the clip back into place, of course, somehow, if I remember how it went in. Can't quite remember that. No, I just did it. There we go. We snap that in, everything's snapped in. We got our new VVT in there. I'm going to go ahead, and if you look, since we're already here, we're going to go ahead and remove this cam sensor. So we're going to pop this clip out of here. There we go. We got it popped out. We got this clip. We're going to go, of course, and then release this cam sensor. There we go. Just had to push down on this clip right here to make sure that it released. A little bit on the tough side, but we're going to go ahead, get up underneath here and remove this nut right here. Looks to be a 10 millimeter. We're going to hope GM will stay uniform on this a little bit, and we'll take and remove this one. You just got to get up underneath here to go get to it. And of course, it feels like it's just going to spin right off of there. Didn't take much. But reach your hand up underneath there. Get that little nut off of there, or bolt. Okay. Almost got it. Now we can wiggle it. See it coming out here. And just try to wiggle it a little bit. And you should be able to get that off of there, and that's it. And we're going to go ahead and replace this. What we've got here is the old one. And of course, here's the new one. Same exact thing. Connections are good. Seal's intact. We'll just go ahead. They look identical. We'll go ahead and put the new one in, and at least we're started with a new cam sensor on there too. We get this cam sensor, get it located into the position that we need it, get it in position, and then of course we want to take and get the bolt started again. Hand started to get it fitting in there good. Once you get tightened up again, it's not going to be very tight, so you go ahead and thread that in till you can't thread it in anymore with your hands, and then just tighten it up with the 10 millimeter small stubby ratchet. It seems to work pretty good to get things in there. Takes a little bit. And that didn't work out like I wanted it to.
It fell down.
Really. Get it nice and snug. It's nice and snug. So we'll go ahead. We'll get our little clip. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and put this one back on. Snaps, you hear it click. And then of course, you want to make sure you get this little clip in the right position. There we go. And get that locking clip put in there. And there, we have replaced both our variable valve timing solenoid and our cam position sensor. We've changed the oil. We're doing everything that we can do to try to help clean this thing up and help this engine run smooth. If this does not work, then I can only assume I have other issues that I need to really research, because it could be from timing chain issues to valve cam or valve or something, but I'm really thinking this is going to answer our question. So we're going to go ahead and put this power steering pump back on. Same procedure, except in reverse, and I'll show you bits and pieces of it as I put in. I'm putting the final torques on the last bolt down here for the power steering pump. Don't use a torque wrench on it, just get them nice and snug. So again, there's a top at the 12 o'clock position, there's one at the 3 o'clock position, and one at the 6 o'clock position. Went ahead and they went back in really easy. So I'm going to go ahead now and put the serpentine belt back on, and we're going to give this thing a start, and we're going to see if we have solved the misfire issue. If not, like I said, put an engine analyzer on it, and we're going to go ahead and see what the results are of that, because I do want to reset the codes and everything on it. But right now with the engine check engine light flashing while we're driving. It couldn't hurt to do this, so we're going to go ahead and put this belt tensioner loosened up again and get this serpentine belt back on. We're going to go ahead and release the tensioner. We're going to put this serpentine belt back on. Make sure everything seats in there good. We're going to let it go back in. Double check everything. Go back over here. Check this. Make sure everything's lined up on this side. And it looks like we're good. Go ahead and pull this tensioner out. And that is it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start this beast and see what it does. What do you think, Mercy Girl? You think it's going to actually run or blow up? What do you think?
Maybe both in the same time.
You have no confidence whatsoever, do you?
I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm afraid of it blowing up when we're stuck here.
Okay, so anyway, I'm highly doubtful it's going to blow up, but we are going to go ahead and get her started up and see what happens.
Let's see what the results are. Hey, look, no blowing up. Yeah, I think it's working.
We're going to take and double check with the engine analyzer to see what this engine's doing, reset some codes now. So we're going to go ahead and get an engine analyzer on it and see where we're sitting. See what we have determined after checking the engine analyzer is no multiple misfires. Everything is good. Cam position sensor is working great, no errors. The VVT is functioning perfect, nothing to declare any issues there. I do have number 1 cylinder now has a continuous misfire. So what we're going to do is I've ordered a Delphi replacement coil over to replace number 1 cylinder. So since I replaced number 4 already and number 1 is the only one that's not functioning, I'm going to take and remove the cover off here and everything, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the number 1 coil over, install a new coil over on it, and basically see if we can't get these misfires taken care of, and we will have a smooth running engine. And I'm going to take care of a short little impromptu repair on a vacuum line that I had that was broken. So I'm going to go ahead and you all saw me do this before, but I'm going to go ahead and break this thing down, and then we'll jump right to the coil replacement for number 1 as a way to fix all the misses on this Chevy Trailblazer 2004 version. So I'll see you in a bit. And Mercy Girl's going to get to take a break under her union contract. She is allowed rest. So we'll see you in a bit. Alright folks, Matt T here. Here's what I've done. I replaced the VVT. I replaced the cam position sensor. I also fixed a small vacuum leak. And we determined after testing with the engine analyzer that number 1 cylinder coil was bad. I have since then replaced the coil. With all these said and done, this Trailblazer now has no codes. So if you want to learn from me and learn when you have bad misfires on your Chevy Trailblazer, check that variable valve timing solenoid, because that could be the key to your problem, and it masks and hides all the other issues. So take the time to replace that. It's a $55 part, and then of course I found sub problems after that, got them fixed, and now I got a smooth running engine, tune out, new spark plugs, 2 new coils, and everything going. So this is Mac T, and this is how I do tune up on a Chevy Trailblazer 2004 model. Have a great day. What do you say, Mercy Girl?
Thank you for watching this video and subscribe to Mac T.
Goodbye.
Bye.